Okay, so the past week was packed with news and updates and surprises for HYBE's artists. For example, KATSEYE landed 2 Grammy nominations, which is huge. And CORTIS kicked off their Japan showcase, and Team picked up new trophies in Korea. Congratulations on that. And ILLIT announced a comeback. They already announced a comeback, but with US producers. And Weverse quietly re entered China through a partnership with Tencent. Of course, there are also other news and issues and updates because overall, HYBE artists have been killing it. But in this video, we will look at what happened across the company the past week and how these issues and moves fit into HYBE's overall strategy and what they might mean. And at the end of the video, I will make some connections between these and BTS and what this might mean not only for the company but also for BTS, because I've been seeing some weird conversations happening on the social media. So I'd like to address that, even if briefly. Okay, so first of all, let's start here. KATSEYE, the HYBE Geffen Records global girl group project, who debuted last year and whom I love their music and I appreciate the 2 EPs that they have released so far. Soft is Strong and Beautiful Chaos, right? They earned 2 nominations at the upcoming 68th Grammy Awards for Best New Artist and Best Pop Duo / Group Performance. So here we go, Best New Artist with these other candidates. And also for Best New Artist. This category recognizes an artist whose eligibility year release achieved a breakthrough into the public consciousness and notably impacted the musical landscape. For Best Pop Duo / Group Performance, for new vocal or instrumental duo / group or collaborative pop recordings, singles or tracks only. And yeah, if you look at these names of the artists like Kendrick Lamar, Huntrix, Golden from Kpop Demon Hunters, APT, Rose, Bruno Mars, and yeah, Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Define Gravity. These are some, and KATSEYE is competing with these artists. Of course, chances are they probably won't win actual award, but the fact that they got nominated itself is a huge win for this group, I think, because this puts the group KATSEYE in a rare company. I heard that they're only the 3rd girl group ever nominated for Best New Artist, following Wilson Phillips in 1991 and SWV in 1994. Wilson Phillips, yeah, and then SWV in 1994. So that's pretty huge. Now, the response online has been wild, right? Many fans didn't expect them to get in this early, given they've only released 2 EPs. Again, Soft is Strong. Soft is Strong. KATSEYE. I love the album. And then Beautiful Chaos. KATSEYE. I love the album. Now, but Gabriella, which is one of the tracks from Beautiful Chaos, it has been doing very well on the chart. And it has quietly built staying power. So for example, it climbed to number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100 and reached number 16 on Pop Airplay, which is a strong sign that US radio programmers have picked them up. And their rise has been slow rather than explosive, but I think the real boost came after their Lollapalooza Chicago this past summer, which they killed, and helped the song re-enter charts and push the EP itself, Beautiful Chaos, to 17 consecutive weeks on the Billboard 200. And plus, KATSEYE now has a North American tour coming up, about to start, and they have a Coachella slot for next spring. So I think, yeah, these Grammy nominations really adds momentum to KATSEYE. So congratulations to the group and the fandom icons for this beautiful news. Now moving on. Big Hit Music's latest new boy group, CORTIS, has begun their first international push with a showcase in Tokyo's Spotify O West, which is the same venue where BTS once held their debut event in Japan, and which was exactly why they picked this specific venue, according to their interviews. And the group performed tracks from Color Outside the Lines, their debut EP, and talked openly about wanting to reach stadium level stages one day. They are ambitious. And by the way, their debut album, Color Outside the Lines, entered Billboard 200 at number 15, which is pretty rare for a rookie group. And in Japan, they have already lined up appearances on TBS, The Time, and NTV's Buzz Rhythm 02. So it's clear that Big Hit is treating Japan as CORTIS' launchpad, focusing on media visibility and small venue fan contact before scaling up, which is a traditional way that artists and groups grow their visibility in Japan, starting slow and small and growing their presence. Now, while CORTIS begins in Japan in terms of international push, TEAM is moving in the opposite direction, bringing their Japanese foundation to Korea. Yeah, they recently had their finally official Korean debut with the Korean language mini album Back to Life. Bring me back to life. I've been listening to their title track. I love it. Sold over 1.2 million copies in its first week, making them one of the few Japan-based groups to hit million seller status in Korea. By the way, if you've been following my channel, you know that I went to their concert last year. That happened in Korea, and they have some dedicated fan base in Korea. So, yeah, they also picked up 2 music show wins and impressed fans with multilingual speeches in Korean, Japanese, English, and Chinese. I think they have prepared pretty well for this Korean debut. And their offline engagement matches their chart performance. So there was a pop-up store that happened in Seoul's Seongsu district, which drew more than 1,000 visitors a day. And a follow-up pop-up will open in Tokyo later this month, I heard. So yeah, HYBE seems to be using TEAM to test how a single act can function fluidly between the Japanese market and the Korean market without splitting its identity. They're super talented, and I love their music. And I love their latest Korean debut album as well. Meanwhile, let's talk about another girl group, ILLIT. Over at Billy Flap, ILLIT is preparing a new album, right, called Not Cute Anymore, produced by Jasper Harris, whose credits include multiple Billboard #1 hits. Jasper Harris. And the collaboration, I'm looking forward to this album, although I don't know what to expect from this album. And perhaps it hints at the shift from, bright pop sounds of, Magnetic, for example, as a debut track, towards something more Western leaning. So it was Magnetic, and then Cherish My Love, and the last time it was 빌려온 고양이. And each track sounded really different, but this time, Not Cute Anymore, I think it might sound even more different. So we'll have to see. The album includes 2 tracks, Not Cute Anymore and Not Me, both centered on themes of independence. And the thing is, members Yuna, Minju, and Mocha contributed to the writing. So that signals a gradual move toward creative involvement, which I really appreciate when it comes to K-pop music. The members writing their own music, even if just little. And the project also ties in fashion branding. We have talked about it, right? British designer Ashley Williams handled parts of the visual concept, and their Seoul concert sold out immediately. The fan meeting that happened recently that went really successful. So, suggesting that the group's domestic base remains strong heading into their November 24th release. I'm super excited. I've seen some footage of them performing their own songs and doing some covers at the fan concert. Yeah, it was super adorable. Now, outside of music release, HYBE also made a quieter but potentially major move on the tech side. So its fan platform, Weverse, has partnered with Tencent's QQ Music to launch Weverse DM as an in-app service in China. So the messaging feature, which allows direct communications between fans and artists, will go live on November 18th with automatic translation in 14 languages. And according to their press release, this deal gives Weverse official access to a market that had largely been closed to Korean entertainment platforms since 2016. But for Tencent, the major Chinese tech company, it brings exclusive interactive content. But for HYBE, it restores a missing piece in its global network. And all of their artists already use, most of their artists, or many of their artists already use DM. So the integration could spread quickly once it launches. Yeah, not all the artists use DMs, but many of them. For example, I think, anyway, I'll look into it later. So, yeah, taken together, all these updates show that HYBE they're in mid-stride. KATSEYE US traction, CORTIS Japanese rollout, and TEAM's Korean debut, and ILLIT's upcoming comeback. Of course, again, there are other artists who are killing it equally. But these are some of the new updates that I've noticed recently. And it shows that HYBE is dividing its growth paths instead of stretching one formula globally. They're trying different things. So, yeah, overall, these are great. Now, before we wrap, I wanted to address something I saw on Twitter recently. So, there was a thread. I haven't included the screenshot of anything, but there was a thread making, these claims that HYBE's current strategy is about milking BTS power while shifting focus to other groups. And they're saying these things before BTS even had a comeback yet. And some people were saying that the company is trying to turn ARMY into general HYBE fans or company stans, or that BTS isn't getting the same level of promotion anymore. Again, they're saying these even before BTS is having a official comeback. And the quote-unquote evidence that these weird people are citing is this article from last year, almost exactly a year ago. Something that came out after the earnings call for Q3 of 2024. And the article is titled, HYBE, we expect BTS revenue dependence to gradually decrease. Full group activities are under discussion. And this is the part that they were saying. HYBE announced that it recorded, it's going to talk about some numbers for Q4. During its Q3 earnings conference call on November 5th, HYBE addressed BTS future activities and their contribution to overall revenue. HYBE CFO stated, we are currently in discussion with the members regarding full group activities in 2026, while maintaining a cautious stance on making specific revenue forecast. He added, we expect BTS return to bring in substantial revenue. However, as our new business sectors and other artists continue to grow, BTS' share of the company's total revenue will not be as high as it once was. HYBE emphasized that while BTS comeback will still play a crucial role in the company's earnings, it plans to continue developing a diversified revenue model through the joint growth of other artists and business divisions. And yeah, this is what these weird people are using to say that, look, HYBE is sabotaging BTS. But if you actually look at what the CFO said, the point wasn't that HYBE wants to move away from BTS. Some of you might be thinking that, oh, HB, you don't even need to address this. We all get it. But trust me, some people do not get it. So yeah, the point wasn't that HYBE wants to move away from BTS. It's that they want the company to be stable enough when BTS returns in 2026 that everything doesn't rest entirely on their shoulders. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's probably one of the best things that could happen for BTS. I mean, when a company's entire performance depends on one group, it creates pressure, whether it's financial, creative, or even emotional. And that pressure is something that got BTS almost to retire. Do you remember? So diversifying through new artists and business lines gives HYBE more breathing room, which in turn gives BTS more freedom to work at their own pace. They won't have to rush a comeback or release something just to keep the numbers up. And let's be honest, no amount of new groups or projects will ever, quote unquote, replace BTS. So what HYBE's doing now actually preserves their impact for the long term. And the healthier and more self-sustaining the company becomes, the more space that BTS has to return on their own terms. You know what I'm saying? So rather than seeing this as HYBE moving on or something, it's more accurate to see it as HYBE growing up, because the foundation still starts with BTS. And every success that comes after only reinforces that legacy. You know what I'm saying? So now, before anyone calls this like company stand talk or something, it's worth clarifying something, because recognizing that diversification helps BTS isn't about defending HYBE as a corporation. It's just looking at the business side realistically. Because some antis will twist any positive framing as like corporate propaganda, but saying the company's stability benefits BTS isn't really fan service, because it's common sense. Because when a label depends entirely on one group, again, and that group ends up carrying every financial expectation, that's exhausting, and it can narrow their creative choices. So by spreading growth across several teams and markets, HYBE reduces that pressure, and it means when BTS comes back, their releases don't have to be timed around quarterly results. After all, HYBE is a public company, and rather they can be timed around what they actually want to make. And again, that's not defending the company. That's understanding how the system works. And if you think about it, this approach protects BTS legacy more than anything. Again, their name built the foundation, and the company's expansions keeps that foundation stable instead of fragile. So I think you can acknowledge that reality without standing a corporation. It's just calling things what they are. I'm not sure if they are like quote unquote HYBE stans. I think it's just people who are so proud, who love BTS and who are so proud of BTS legacy that they are interested in the growth of HYBE. You know, it's all about the legacy. Of course, there are company stands that exist. There's a famously, what was it called? Pink blood. Pink blood is a term that refers to the people who literally stand SM Entertainment. I don't know how that originated from. I think that's kind of a dangerous idea. Standing a company, of like even. I think I've said this before. As a shareholder, well, first of all, as a fan of artists under HYBE and as a shareholder, it's important to acknowledge when a company makes some missteps. and mistakes, because it's important to call out. And the worst thing that you can do as an investor is to make investments and then say that everything the company does is right. No, that's not really it. You gotta be flexible, and you shouldn't be prone to confirmation bias. So, but whatever. You know how antiques do. They try to twist the narratives and say that, oh, you guys are standing HYBE, you're a company stance. You know what I'm saying? In order to attack HYBE. And speaking of attacking the company, one last thing I want to touch on. Some people, see these negativity around HYBE and the constant criticism in the media and the way antis frame HYBE as this villain. And they start thinking, if BTS just left HYBE, all of this would stop, meaning BTS wouldn't have to suffer from these criticisms or something. But that's not how it works, right? Because the reason HYBE gets targeted so heavily in the first place is because it's BTS's agency, because it became powerful through their success. And when you're that big, you attract rivals and jealous competitors and bad faith narratives. And that wouldn't disappear if BTS suddenly launched their own label. It will probably intensify. There are some people who still say that. Of course, as always happens in K-pop industry, there are all sorts of politics. Some people wear masks as BTS fans and say that they should leave the agency. But there are some people who, get tricked by that idea. Anyways, and people underestimate how much infrastructure and protection that a group like BTS actually needs. Like their global distribution, contracts, IP rights, legal teams, international event networks, all these aren't things that can just be built overnight by, anyone. And HYBE isn't perfect, but it's the only company, I think, in Korea, if not on Earth, equipped to manage BTS scale-up operation, at least at this point. So honestly, no matter what agency they're with, even if they start their own, the same people who hate HYBE will find new ways to attack them. And the core issue isn't the company, it's the success and the influence and the fact that BTS represents a level of power in this industry that a lot of people cannot stand. So, yeah, I think the whole argument is pretty short-sighted. And I think BTS and HYBE's relationship isn't about control, it's about infrastructure. So you can criticize management choices and still recognize that, they are supporting their artist. And they can support what BTS does at this scale. Pretty well, I think. Of course, you might have different opinions. If that's the case, leave your comments in the comment section. But as always, stay positive, respectful, and classy. And what do you think about these issues? Like Weverse entering the Chinese market, that's pretty big. ILLIT's comeback, I'm really looking forward to it. And Team, if you have checked out their Korean debut album, let me know your thoughts. And CORTIS is killing it. I haven't covered them recently, but yeah, their performance is so good. And KATSEYE, last but not least, what do you think about their nominations? I personally believe that they deserve it. Of course, I'm pretty sure HYBE has. You know what? I would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, I will leave it here. Let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace, love. Bye bye.